good afternoon, good morning, everybody. Lovely to be here. Apologies for being a few minutes late. We were waiting for the room to fill up. But let's kick it off. We are definitely not a room of people that enjoy long introductions, so we'll try and cut to the chase as much as possible today. Starting off with why we're here, why we're speaking to you, and it's probably because we're passionate about tax technology. We're also passionate about exciting others about tax technology, and maybe even more granularly, what we want to do is we want to excite those members of your tax teams that sit in the corner of the room and automate as much as they can on Excel to become true tax technology experts. So maybe we're a bunch of nerds in a room, but what we will do is we'll focus in on tax technology a bit today. Who we are, maybe I see some of our people and some of our clients joining. We are VAT IT. I'm the Managing Director of VAT IT Compliance. As you'll see on the screen, we do a multitude of things, but I'd like to summarize them as we solve our clients' important problems around indirect tax across the world. We come from every corner of Earth. Today, we're sitting in cold South Africa. I've got a room full of experts here with me. And what we want to do is we want to talk about tax technology while showcasing a few of our products. We are incredibly cognizant of the fact that we don't want it to turn into a sales meeting. We do enough of those. We're here to talk amongst peers and hopefully excite one or two people along the way. The goal is to get a bit of a following going so we can discuss important topics in the future. And yeah, we're keen to kick that off with you here today. Alongside me, I've brought two of our forefront experts in the technology space. I've got Hendri from Schalkwyk, our head of technology and owner of our Abacus product here with me. And I've also got Julian, one of our experts on the e-invoicing side, who can definitely speak to that, which is incredibly topical these days as well. So I kept the introduction short, which was my job. I'm going to hand over to the experts right now. First up, we will hand over to Hendri to speak a bit about tax technology in general, why it is an important topic today, why we're not speaking about it 5 years ago, why all the rave. So yeah, hand over to Hendri.
Thanks, Lourens. Happy you said we're not here on a sales call, because I'm by no means a salesman, but I do love me some tax technology. I think I am going to be showcasing some of our Abacus, our version of tax technology, because I do believe it covers the important aspects that are required from a tax technology service provider. So I am going to start off by showing kind of the landscape or the vision of a tax technology tool, with the idea that we will cover the type of important things that I think we should be looking out for in the tech. So the tax technology landscape is evolving quite rapidly at the moment, especially when we get over to the Eezi side. But basically, on a monthly basis, you will find that tax officers are changing their requirements and changing the rules and requiring ERP systems and service providers to stay up to date. And if you're not dialed into the tax technology sphere, you're basically standing at risk of getting left behind, or your system not being compliant with whatever the changing requirements are. So you're looking for something that not only covers the jurisdictions that you're operating in, but something that's backed by a team of experts that are constantly making sure that technology adheres to the standards that are changing at a rapid pace. So you definitely looking for something, just as I mentioned, this is Abacus, our tool that covers jurisdictions and gives you a bird's eye view of what your compliance status is, with giving you that ability to sleep at night. So definitely one of the aspects is not only where am I not compliant, or where do I still have, or where am I actually sorted in terms of tax returns. You also want something that gives you a clear indication of when there's something on your plate to be resolving, or when in fact there's no action required, something you know is in the hands of your tax expert, or in the hands of someone else within your organization, whether that is someone that's a decision maker, that is the final person to be, let's say, approving a return, or the person preparing the data. So yeah, sorry.
Let me ask you the question that you get a lot while showcasing any tax technology product, and we often get asked, why not just use our ERP to prepare tax returns and submit those to 20 or 30 VAT authorities across the EU? What would you say is the benefit of using a tax tool?
Yeah, ERPs are, of course, you get some really incredible software out there, but they are pretty tunnel. They've got tunnel vision, I would say, and they might operate really excellently in 5 jurisdictions. But the type of clients that really should be interested in tax technology out there, they're operating in 20, 30 jurisdictions. It's really difficult to find something out there that caters to every nuance. Poland would be a really good example. I'm not sure that there are any ERPs unless you're using a Poland-specific ERP to manage your operations. So really, you are looking for someone that isn't just covering the easy ones. Of course, we have United Kingdom, where we're submitting directly to the tax offices, but you want something like that handles Poland or Italy, or some of the more still electronic submitted returns, but in the special formats that tax offices require you to handle, which standard ERPs wouldn't really cater for.
And I think the reason for that, I would probably summarize, is not ERP's inability to automate a lot of this. It's probably in their appetite to do so. They've got a big business they need to focus on. Indirect tax is absolutely not at their core.
Yeah.
And that's why they do very well to get things to a stock standard place. But if you're trading internationally, you've got money at risk, I think compliance, and especially indirect tax compliance, isn't really a place where you like second best.
It's a really good point. I really like to quote Jeff Bezos when he's saying Amazon cares about focusing on whatever makes their operations better. Our operations are compliance, VAT compliance. So we ensure that you don't have to worry, or your tax technology ensures that you don't have to worry about something that's really a grudge payment or a grudge piece of work on a monthly basis. You get to focus your business on really what makes your beer taste sweeter. I really like that. So maybe some other things that I think is worth raising is, you really want something that just doesn't take your transactions and kind of tell you everything is sorted. It is important for us that you're able to have a look at your what is actually being submitted. We don't want your tax technology to be a black box, insert transactions and something happens. You want the ability to, this is a French return, for instance, that really shows you the end result of what it is that's going to be submitted, and in a language that you might understand. In this case, I'm showing you a French return, but it is in fact in English, completely matches what the French version of the tax portal would require you to be submitting. So really, there's so many benefits to using the right tax technology software. It's the localization, it's the peace of mind, and just the knowledge that a business that actually runs proper tax technology is able to. Sorry, I lost my words there. But you know that even if you're using a service provider that uses solid tax technology, you just know that there is nothing that can come up at a due date, no surprises, just properly peace of mind.
Yeah, I think what you're showing is what you said, the ability to sleep at night. You're showing a couple of the things that at a very high level, simple to understand, and gives you the ability to rest easy, that due dates are being met and they're being met in a compliant manner. But I think pulling it back to the guy sitting in the corner of the office that really wants to dive into the detail, I think that's maybe what you're showing now as well. tax technology should absolutely give you the opportunity to dive into that detail as far as possible, meaning setting up automated rules, diving into errors and fixing those in an automated fashion. And I think what Henry's showing on the screen maybe speaks to that.
Absolutely. So another thing maybe where your ERP might be set up appropriately in certain jurisdictions and not in others is when it comes to ensuring that compliant data gets submitted to the tax offices. So you want tax technology that not only just takes your transactions, assumes it's perfect and goes and submits it as is to the different jurisdictions. You want something that checks the data and ensures that it adheres to the requirements of that specific jurisdiction's rule sets. I'm not going to drill into the different areas right now, but this kind of just showcases you of the process that Abacus and I think excellent tax technology should follow is check data, ensure it adheres to standards, and do not accept it as something that can get reported to the tax authorities before those issues have been resolved. Really ensuring that by the time it reaches the tax office and an audit comes up, you've done your due diligence and proven that this is up to the standards that is expected.
Nice.
Yeah.
And just looking at the data there and thinking over the wide landscape of tax technology, of course, the buzzword out there is e-invoicing. So I think what I'd like to do is actually hand over to Julian for a bit to speak about what we want to obviously always talk about is the broader e-invoicing landscape. Let's focus in on what you would use to solve that as well, which is an e-invoicing technology product. Please, Julian, go ahead.
Thanks, Lourens. Appreciate it. Yeah, I think as you said, e-invoicing is the buzzword at the moment. It's something that's coming up in a lot of conversations when it comes to tax technology. And the reason for that is the expanded use of and regulation of e-invoicing across multiple jurisdictions at the moment, and certainly coming in the future, in the near short-term future, specifically things like VIDA. So we can start talking about some of the current mandates, what e-invoicing is, I suppose, as well. But I think what's really important to understand is that there are multiple ways to solve for the problem of being able to e-invoice for your company, whether that means having multiple providers or local experts. What we have chosen as sort of the preferred route, though, is really trying to have a holistic solution from a global perspective. So our clients will be able to sort of integrate in one place with one language model, one format that they share with us, and be able to, again, sleep at night, not have to worry about the complexities and the nuances for each country, for each region, and also not worry about the future and the mandates that are coming in very soon. So maybe looking at a couple of regions, we've got very established mandates in LATAM. They've been going since the 2010s, basically, starting with e-invoicing, mandating the use of a variety of formats of structured data to share with the tax office on a transactional level. But now we're starting to see things picking up in the Gulf states, APAC, a bit of Africa as well, and then probably most importantly for everyone, Europe. And I think another thing to understand is that, with a lot of this data being shared, especially that structured data on a transactional level with the tax authorities, is the tax authorities will now have a lot more information and context for how your sort of entities work, what your tax exposure is, and especially then comparing it to things like your returns and other reporting filings. So really trying to have a more holistic solution where everything speaks to each other, where the data can be shared between these types of solutions is really important. If you guys are happy, I'll maybe just also do a quick, not demo of Eezi. I don't think we've got time for that, but I just want to show you sort of what a couple of these e-invoices look like and what we do from our tech point of view.
Maybe before we do that, Julian, it's nice to hear you speak. I think you still look young, but modestly, you've been in the landscape for a very long time. I wanted to ask you a question that came to me the other day from a client, and the question was as follows. is it fair to say that the difference between the two tax technology sets that we've just spoken about, one being VAT compliance and one being invoicing, is it true that the one is a more handheld solution where you need to tell the technology on a weekly, monthly, or quarterly basis what it needs to do? You need to be involved in the processing and the output side of things. While I've heard many people say on the e-invoicing side of things, a lot of the work is up front. A lot of the work is pulled into the integration side of things, the setup side of things, and then you sort of let it run like a tech product. So thinking, again, back to the topic of the hand, tax technology, these two work incredibly close to one another, are integrated fully and as they should be, but am I correct in saying they'll be used very differently?
Yes, I think so. A lot of the mandates and regulations around the world specifically talk about real-time or near real-time transactional data flowing between, and I'm using general terms because every country has very specific nuances for this. But what that means is that effectively for accounting teams and finance teams, that once they issue an invoice in the ERP, there should be little to no input from there to the point where the data reaches the tax office and the end recipient. That's obviously for a few reasons. From an audit trail point of view, it means that nothing can be changed or modified or anything along those lines, and ensures that the data reaching the tax office is good data. I do think, though, that potentially it might be changing from the tax compliance side in future, in that a lot more of this data is structured, it's easier to manage, and from a compliance point of view, a lot more of this can potentially be automated in the future. So, for example, sharing data from the Eezi system with Abacus will pre-populate a lot of the stuff that you'll need and will reflect what the tax office has on their side to an extent. It will still need to be, analyzed and worked through, but it would definitely be a different prospect, I think, for what it is now. So I think we are looking at a future of potentially automation on both sides being a bigger talking point.
Show us a bit.
All right. So this is the Eezi dashboard. As I said, more wanted to show you maybe some of the types of e-invoices. Just a note that this is our UAT environment, so all of this data is fake. It doesn't really exist or anything like that. But as an example, these are human readable versions of these, but this is what an Italian e-invoice from a human readable point of view looks versus another Italian, versus a Portuguese certified invoice versus a Mexican invoice, I believe. So you can really see that there's a lot of variety in how these tax offices want us to present data. And then from the other point of view is this reflects XML or JSON data, which is structured in specific formats that each of these tax offices want. So when it comes to e-invoicing, especially from a multinational point of view, there's a lot of complexity. And I think what the beauty of some of these tax technology products like Eezi provide is that we take that complexity out of it. Through our systems, you are able to have one integration, use one format with slight nuances per country, but be able to then comply with a multitude of mandates and a multitude of nuances within each mandate as well. So that's where really tax technology is there, I think, more to assist and make sure that you are compliant and have that peace of mind and can focus on the more important tasks at hand.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. So I certainly had about 10 plus questions, but I thought for today, the goal was obviously to just get the conversation going. I want this Q&A to extend past the Q&A session we have right now. We will hopefully have open channels with everybody watching. Please reach out if you have questions. But for now, let's hand over just to the Q&A section of the webinar. If you have anything you want to ask, if you have anything you want us to speak on about, please put it in the chat box. We'll give it a few seconds or so, and if not, if we're a bit shy today, I think we can certainly elaborate on a few of the common questions we see these days.
We already have one there, Lourens.
Right. Go ahead, take it for us.
I'll read it out for you guys. I don't know who will take the question, but how are governments and regulators adapting to rapid innovation in tax tech, and what mandates should companies anticipate in the next 2 to 3 years?
Yeah, interesting question. I think overarchingly, I think they're probably reacting a bit slower than businesses. What you as a business definitely need to do is make sure that you react faster than the mandates and the governmental institutions out there. Categorically, that's your goal. Your pace is set by that, and we've seen some pushback from tax officers to implement across the EU, but we're seeing some momentum in France, Germany, etc. So I'd say that you should anticipate change and just make sure that you're ahead of that change.
I think in terms of also anticipating mandates, certainly for the EU, you maybe look at the next 5 years with the introduction of VIDA, it allows countries to implement mandates domestically for B2B transactions without permission like they used to need from the Eezi. So I think we can expect a lot of mandates to be implemented in the next 5 years with VIDA coming up. And certainly from 2030 with their reporting requirements, they'll also need to have some system in place from a cross-border point of view for every EU country.
Fantastic. I see that's the only question so far. So maybe let me ask the one that's that we spend probably 40% of our time on solving for daily. I think I'll give it to the prettiest member of our panel today. So Hendri, what should we be expecting in terms of AI and in the tax technology space in the next few years?
Thought you were going to ask yourself there for a second, Lourens. But cool. In terms of AI, I think actually what we're seeing in terms of direct reporting of transactions to the tax offices gives us a glimpse into where tax offices are already thinking. They want to be in the loop on every transaction of every business because data is the future. And AI is just the following step in the future. And I think from firstly, the tax officer's perspective, they're busy mulling over billions of, maybe not billions, but an incredible amount of data to identify where they can optimize their tax collection processes. I think businesses just in general and just in terms of from a financial and accounting perspective should be doing the same. They should be applying the tools in an effective manner, and because this is the future of society, is artificial intelligence is coming, and I guess tax technology experts should be trying to apply it in the appropriate manner that is allowed. Of course, there are GDPR requirements, etc. But the same way that other businesses should be innovating, so should a tax technology business to make sure that we're offering the services as effectively as possible.
I'll follow up there. How do you make sure as a tax technology in-house specialist, how do you make sure that AI doesn't come for your job in the next 5 years?
Innovate using this new technology that's coming for our job. You make sure that whatever the solutions that should be out there or the solutions of the future that are integrating with AI solutions, you make sure you're on the right side of history there. And I'm hopeful about the fact that we are innovating in that way. Just like you said, we should be innovating faster than the tax offices, and if they're applying and using AI, then we should too. Yeah.
Fantastic. I see we've got an inflood of a few questions, so maybe we will see we're running out of time here. We'll try and respond to those just afterwards and open up a little bit of debate and Q&A there. Cognizant of everybody's time, the VAT returns due and all of that. But thank you so much for the guys that joined me here in the room today. Thank you for everybody out there. Hopefully, if you didn't make it, you can watch it on 2Speed later tonight. All the best, and please reach out to us if you have any questions. We're keen to have a chat.